City Council, City Manager, it's awesome to be here in front of you tonight. For our awards presentation, this is a little bit different. We've had our formal department awards presentation a couple months ago. Now we have the opportunity to present some of the citizens of our community and some of our fellow employees, as well as a police officer, with an award. So without further ado, since we have about 7 to present, can I have Sarah and Katie come down to the floor, please? We'll begin with Sarah. Okay, so as Sarah was enjoying her day swimming in the pool, she noticed that a young boy who had been swimming close to her earlier now did not appear to be moving. When Sarah looked closer, she noticed that the boy was floating motionless in the water and realized that he might be in trouble. Sarah felt that something might be wrong, so she swam quickly over to the young boy and tapped him on the shoulder to see if he was okay. However, the boy remained motionless and did not move or respond to her at all. Sarah knew that she had to get some assistance, so she immediately yelled for help, getting the attention of the lifeguards and other adults that were close by. Sarah then proceeded to pull the young boy to the side of the pool and then remove the still motionless boy out of the water. Okay. Enter Katie. Katie, who was also at the pool enjoying her day, happened to be one of those nearby adults that was alerted by Sarah's cry for help. Without hesitation, Katie rushed over to the young boy who was laying on his back and continued to remain motionless. Based on her medical experience, Katie knew that she needed to start CPR on the boy. She also knew that she needed to get additional help for the boy, so she instructed others to call 911. Katie determined that the young boy did not have a pulse, so she began administering CPR. She performed CPR for a couple of rounds and was able to reestablish a heartbeat. Katie then placed the boy in the recovery position to assist his breathing and because he began to expel water. She continued to stay with the boy until our medics arrived, at which time she supplied them with all the information that they needed. Once the medics got the boy in the cot, he began to regain consciousness. Regarding Sarah, one of the most impressive aspects of her involvement is remembering that she's only 13 years old. It's because of her attentiveness to detail, ability to think quickly, and desire to get involved and help others that was directly responsible for helping to save the life of the young boy. So, it is in keeping with the finest tradition of the West Carrollton Police Department that this Citizens Recognition Award is hereby presented to Sarah for conducting herself in such a manner as would be considered exemplary. Regarding Katie, Katie did not hesitate to jump into action when seconds counted. Without question, her quick response and effective use of CPR saved the boy's life. She is to be commended for her meritorious actions. So, in keeping with the finest tradition of the City of West Carrollton and the West Carrollton Police Department, this Citizens Recognition Award is hereby awarded to Katie for conducting herself in such a manner as would be considered exemplary. The next award is Police Department Award of Commendation, and it's being presented to Officer Josh Lebinsky. So I need Josh to join me down here on the floor, please. The department commendation is given to an employee for an act that is considered above and beyond the call of duty or giving evidence of selfless or highly professional conduct. On May 7th of this year, Officer Lebinsky was in his personal vehicle wearing gym clothes and driving into work. As he was doing so, he observed one of our officers who appeared to be engaged in a foot pursuit with the fleeing suspect. It appeared to Josh that the officer was alone and backup had not yet arrived. As the suspect continued to flee, Officer Lubinsky saw her toss an object into the bushes. Dressed in street clothes and with none of his usual police equipment, Officer Lubinsky began to pursue the suspect on foot as well. The suspect tried to alter her appearance by removing some of her outer garments as she continued to run from the officers. Officer Lubinsky was able to catch up with the suspect and place her into custody with the assistance of the original officer. Josh then returned to the bushes and discovered that what the suspect attempted to conceal from the officers was a bottle of methamphetamine. So, in keeping with the finest tradition of the West Carrollton Police Department, this commendation is awarded for conducting yourself in such a manner as would be considered above and beyond call of duty. The next award presentation involves 4 members of our service department who were involved in 2 separate incidents. Both of these incidents involve life-saving measures that were performed by these 4 men. This also marks the first time our department is recognizing other city employees with a specific award that is dedicated just to them. This also happens to be our inaugural presentation of the department's new Patrick M. McCoy Award. Before we get into specifics about each incident, I think that it is important to understand our new award and why it is named after Officer Pat McCoy. Pat dedicated the majority of his life to being a public servant, but his longevity as a police officer is not the reason for this award. It is what he did, the actions he took, and how he lived his life over those 30-plus years in law enforcement that merit this distinction. Pat became a member of our police department in February of 2021, shortly after he retired from Miami Township. There was an instant connection between Pat and the members of our department, and Pat quickly became a part of our family. Pat was passionate about his career in law enforcement. The passion that he exhibited came from a place deep in his soul that centered around Pat's innate desire to help others. Pat was the type of person that would do anything for a friend, and if you knew Pat for 5 minutes, he considered you his friend. As a West Carrollton police officer, Pat would volunteer to do things he didn't have to do and helped anyone and everyone that he could. His positive attitude and sense of humor were contagious, and he made each day those officers working around him a little brighter. Pat left an indelible mark on our department, even in the short time he was with us. As you know, Pat passed away a few months ago. This new award strives to honor the man that dedicated his life to the service of others. The criteria for receiving the Patrick M. McCoy Award reads as follows. The Patrick M. McCoy Award is given to a City of West Carrollton employee for a specific act, series of acts, or conduct which is considered to be outstanding. The acts or conduct that was exhibited directly contributed to the safety and/or the well-being of the public or fellow employees. As you will soon hear, these 4 service department employees are well-deserving of this honor. The first employee to be recognized is Street Department Supervisor Todd Pemberton. In late January of this year, Todd was approached by a coworker who advised Todd that he wasn't feeling very well and wanted to go home. Todd could tell based on the employee's appearance that something was definitely wrong with him. Todd told the employee that based upon his visual observations, he felt the employee should be checked out by our medics. The employee told Todd that it wasn't necessary and that he thought he'd just go home and lay down for a little while. The employee told Todd that he would be fine once he was able to rest for a while. Todd again suggested that the employee be examined by the medics. This process repeated itself a couple more times until Todd insisted that the employee be seen by our medics before he went home. So the employee was examined by the medics, and based on that examination, the employee was immediately taken to the hospital. A medical procedure was performed almost immediately upon the employee's arrival. The doctors that had done the procedure stated that if the employee had not arrived at the hospital when he did, and if he had gone home to lay down, he probably would have passed away. Todd Pemberton's concern for his coworker and persistence that he be examined by trained medical personnel directly contributed to saving the employee's life. So, it is in keeping with the finest tradition of the West Carrollton Police Department that the first Patrick M. McCoy Award is presented for conducting yourself in such a manner as would be considered above and beyond the call of duty. Okay. The second incident occurred on one of the city's scheduled large trash pickups in early May of this year and involved Service Department employees Billy Branham, Nick Kolb, and former employee Matt Guston, who's not with us tonight. But if we can have Billy and Nick come down here, please. The street department employees were driving from house to house, picking up items that residents had set out for the large trash pickup. One of the crews stopped at a home where one of the items the homeowner was discarding happened to be a large glass tabletop. Another two-person crew was loading items a couple of houses away. As the first crew lifted the glass up and were preparing to place it in the back of the truck, the top of the glass cracked and then broke apart. A large part of the broken glass then sliced across the forearm of one of the service workers, causing a very deep laceration. Immediately, the wound began to bleed profusely. The service worker that was with the injured employee, as well as the other two service workers, sprang into action. One of the employees removed his belt and applied a makeshift tourniquet to the arm of the injured worker. The second service department employee helped to readjust the tourniquet to maximize its effectiveness, and the third called 911. All three city employees continued to attend to their severely injured coworker until our medic crews arrived. The medic crews rushed the employee to the hospital for treatment. The wound was so severe that the emergency room doctor stated that the injured employee would probably have bled to death if the tourniquet was not applied and other employees did not administer aid like they did. The actions of these three service department employees directly contributed to saving the life of their fellow employee. So, it is keeping with the finest tradition of the West Carrollton Police Department that the Patrick M. McCoy Award is presented for conducting yourselves in such a manner as we would be considered above and beyond the call of duty. Christian is our Parks and Rec director, and he wants to say a few words about the pool incident.
Yeah, I appreciate Doug, the police department, for bestowing this honor on you guys. Words can't express how grateful we all are for your actions. I speak on behalf of myself, our employees, the pool employees. It was, when you swim at the pool, you take for granted that you're safe, and you just never know how quickly something like that could happen. And that was a good reminder. We're blessed that you two were there, and forever we'll be grateful. Doug mentioned something about me giving you free popcorn the rest of the year. We'll talk about that, but I appreciate everything you guys have done for us, so thank you.
I have a little thing here. I might repeat a few things that Doug had said, but it's titled "Come Home Safely." And these words are not said in too many day-to-day careers anymore. You just go to work and you think everything's going to be fine. unless you have a career as a police officer or firefighter or maybe a military career where danger could be expected at any moment in time. It's typically not in other careers. Today, we're here to acknowledge events where people rose to the occasion. They made sure someone around them could come home safely. These people took quick action, decisive action, heroic action when someone near them needed it. Things happened quickly. Action was needed in seconds when help was minutes away. At the pool, a young swimmer needed help. Katie and Sarah didn't look around to see who else would do anything. They sprung to action. They took quick, decisive action so that someone next to them could come home safely. At the service garage, Todd saw his fellow employee struggling, looking pale. That employee said, "Oh, I'm okay. I'm just going to go home and lie down." Todd knew better, and he took quick, decisive action, called 911, got his coworker to the hospital. He was having a heart attack, but he received treatment in time so that he could come home safely. On the refuse route, a freak accident left the employee severely lacerated. They called 911. They all knew that immediate action was necessary. And to quote Billy, he later said, "I didn't know how to do a tourniquet. I only knew what I saw on TV." So you don't need to be well trained. You just need to do something quickly, decisively, and take action. So, and they got the other worker to the hospital where the ER doctor again said whoever put on that tourniquet saved his life. So today we acknowledge these people that stepped to the plate. They took quick, decisive action, and in these cases, they hit a home run so that those around them could come home safely. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to be in front of council and present these awards. Just a tremendous occasion that we're able to honor these 7 individuals, especially 2 citizens of the community and 4 of our service workers.
Thank you, Chief Wood. Thank you. I too would like to thank all the recipients this evening. I want to thank you for getting involved and saving people's lives. And if the involvement wouldn't have been there, we wouldn't have a presentation like this evening. Council members?
The only thing I can say is, if I'm in a situation, I hope that one of you guys are around to help me. What you did is awesome, more than awesome. There are just no words to describe. It not only impacted the life of the person you saved, but their families and friends as well. So it was just a lasting ripple effect that's truly above and beyond. So thank you all for what you did. And don't forget, if I need you, be around, okay?
I don't think thank you is enough. This tonight, I didn't know I needed tissues for these stories. But you guys are amazing, and I've always known our citizens, our first responders, our employees, we just have such a great, I'm just so blessed to live in the city, and I had the pleasure of knowing Pat McCoy too through my job. Never heard a bad word about him. He loved working for West Carrollton, and I love that there's an award in his name. That means a lot. So just wanted to say thank you to everyone.
Well, I'd just like to say I'm proud of all you guys. I happen to know Todd for a long time. He kind of grew up with around my kid's age, and Billy goes back way longer than dirt. And I'm really impressed that you learned something from TV. But to all of you, you've made somebody else's life very thankful.
I'd like to say thank you, like everybody else says up here. You just never know in a split moment somebody's life can change or your life can change. So thank you for getting involved when a lot of times people do not get involved. And those that don't know first aid, and CPR, highly recommend you go out and learn, because you never know, just like that in a split moment, you may have to use it. So thank you guys for doing that, and keep up the good work.
Me too. I'd like to say thank you. I mean, really, it's totally not enough. What more can you really say? Really, the only thing that we can really say is we all hope that any one of us would do exactly what you guys did if the thing presents itself to us. We can only pray that we will, but thank you all for what you did.
Last note here is Angie couldn't be here, and she called me and wanted to make sure she expressed her thankfulness and gratitude to all the people who did these great things.
Cheryl Dillon with Dillon Events, but here on behalf of the City of West Carrollton and the City of West Carrollton Police Department today. I actually would just like to say a couple of things also, Rick. I was thinking the same thing as you were all getting your awards. If any of that ever happened to me, I hope that I would respond like a hero would, like you did, because that's what I consider you all today as heroes, and I hope that I would have that same strength and courage, so thank you very much. You guys are inspirations. Also would like to say thank you for Trish McCoy for being here today, Pat's wife, and his mom, and some family. We have lots of people here, grandkids. We have lots of friends here, lots of other police. So thank you all for being here. Chief Woodard and I concocted a special gift for the rest of you on August 18th, which is a Thursday night. Council's going to be out to our Bands and Sands event. We are going to have a special presentation and literally skydive in an American flag in honor of Pat McCoy and all of you heroes. If you'd like to be there and be recognized, our skydiver will be jumping in a couple of special mementos for each of you. We'll have you up on stage, introduce you. We won't tell all of the stories, but we'll tell about what you've done. And it's our way of honoring Pat and his service and also your service. So thank you, Chief, for allowing us to do that. Thank you, City of West Carrollton, for allowing us to do that. But it's a really, really special thing, and it is something to see. I cry every time it happens, and now with all of this behind it, bring your Kleenex, Amanda.
I will.
You'll need it for that one. So you're all invited for that.
I honestly did not expect to find myself coming up here to do this. My name is Brittany Koja. Well, I was McCoy. I'm Trish McCoy's daughter. I had written some words for her just in case she had a difficult time today, maybe wanting to say something. And it's one of those take initiative things, deliver a message to Garcia moments. I'm just going to do it here. There were some things that I wrote about my dad, and I wish that I didn't have just some paper here in front of me, but I'd like to keep it short. But I would just like to say, first of all, that I honestly did not expect everything that I have seen today. I didn't expect to be in tears myself, and these are some very inspiring stories. And I really cannot think of a more fitting award named in honor of my dad. I really cannot. I mean, it is apropos of all things him, if you've ever met him, truly. And I've been witness to his life long enough to know what my dad was made of. His stories were as big, as real, and as memorable as he. And if you paid attention or you've ever peeked around his library shelves for any amount of time, you may have seen a pattern emerging amongst the authors and the types of stories that he reads. And he loved second chances, redemption arcs, things that were parallel in his own life as a human being. And I think that all of us can relate to. And I think redemption arcs are very powerful, and it was very powerful to him, and I think he is a great example of somebody in second chances and truly redeeming yourself in life and finding purpose. So this is an amazing award to give inspiration. I appreciate that so much. And on behalf of my entire family, especially my mother, who I have watched just, I love her so very much, and you never want to see your mom in pain, and you don't want to lose your dad either. But her reaction the night that I found out that you guys had made this happen, all of you, I don't think I've heard her that excited in a long time. Not since before Dad passed or anything, to know that people are thinking of him and remembering him. So I just want to thank all of you for recognizing his years of service, our beloved family matriarch that he gave to his community, and for honoring his memory with not just a really lovely tribute, which anyone could have done, but truly was something that will live on. And I mean, this is creating a legacy that we have not been able, in our grief or in our, just our places to do, but you have, and we're grateful. We're all very grateful. My brother Spencer, my sister Erin, Maggie, the grandkids here, Taylor, Vance, little Kenny, my mom, my grandma Dee. This is huge for all of us. And thank you to everyone who received the awards. I mean, that's amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. If I had known so many people were coming, I would have brought more than one St. Christopher's medallion to hand out. But I'd just like to say, keep doing what you're doing. And on that note, I just want to say it's okay to be human. The margin of error in your line of work is minuscule. It truly is. So if you must make it a mistake, make it a new one. Because it is okay to make mistakes and to err. Amends can be made. I'll end on this note. My dad, again, loved redemption stories and his authors. He loved to quote no one more than he loved to quote Mark Twain. Loved reading him, but loved quoting him more. So much so, it is really hard to remember who to credit with a certain quote sometimes. You know, he says that he would say it so often. So I will end on this. I think it's very fitting. Just thank you very much, and God bless to all of you. And this is my favorite Mark Twain / Patrick McCoy quote. Always do right. It will gratify some and astonish the rest.